So how long does that fight last?
Listen, my opinion, it's 1 round.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
You make of that?
Anthony, by murder.
By murder?
Yes.
Golly.
Might knock his head off a little bit. Like, it might be special effects.
Boxing legends are weighing in on the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul showdown, and Alexander Usyk doesn't mince words. Having shared the ring with Joshua twice, he insists this fight won't last more than 1 round. Usyk says he knows exactly how destructive Joshua's power is and believes Jake is stepping into something far beyond his experience. To him, this matchup is more business than boxing value, and all Joshua needs is one clean moment to expose the massive gap between them.
Obviously, it's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Do you see something wrong with AJ taking that fight?
This is just a lot of money, it's just a show.
Right.
This is not interesting sport because, guys, brothers, Anthony is Olympic champion. Jake, it's just sportsman. Yeah, YouTuber. Jake do a lot of work. Special coach, special food, a lot of exercise, new.
Yes.
But this is guy don't have a mother fights.
Right.
Never
Right.
a mother fights. Maybe the wrestling now professional, but Joshua, Anthony Joshua, it's Olympic champion.
So how long does that fight last?
Listen, my opinion, it's 1 round because Anthony twice. My fight twice. Jab.
Very hard.
Yeah. Look. You know, this is.
It's still from his fight.
Tyson Fury, however, goes in the complete opposite direction with one of the boldest takes of the entire discussion. He predicts Jake Paul knocks out Anthony Joshua. The boxing world was stunned, but Fury stands firm. He argues Jake is growing physically, lifting heavier, and transforming into a stronger, more disciplined fighter. Fury believes momentum and self-belief can sometimes override experience, and he sees Jake's confidence as a real factor. Whether people agree or not, Fury's perspective adds a shocking twist, especially coming from someone who knows the heavyweight landscape better than almost anyone alive.
Fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight.
Teddy Atlas breaks down the matchup with pure strategy, not emotion. He fully acknowledges Joshua's overwhelming size and strength, but stresses that Jake isn't coming in empty-handed. Jake's youth, improved footwork, and risk-taking nature give him certain advantages. Atlas explains that Joshua thrives when controlling distance, but Jake's quicker feet and willingness to leap into exchanges could create small openings. He's not saying Jake will win, but Atlas refuses to dismiss the tools Jake is bringing to the table.
While we look at all the advantages that Joshua has, let's look at how I look at where maybe Paul has some advantages. He's younger. His feet are a little faster. I know he's not at that level of a fighter, I get it. But his feet are faster. Joshua's feet are not that fast, closing gaps, getting to somebody. To hit him, even if you're better than him, you still got to get to him to hit him. Also, Joshua, last time he fought was over a year. He hasn't fought. He was basically retired. Where's his mind at? He got knocked out terribly by Dubois. Where's his confidence? Where's his mindset? Where is he? Is he taking this fight the way that fans are, overlooking Paul, taking him for granted? Yeah, it probably is. Might be. Does that weigh in? Yeah, that weighs in. People don't look at those parts of it. And the weight. Paul's smart. He always puts clauses in there. I know this is the first time he's fighting a guy who's bigger than him and all that stuff, but he put in a 245-pound weight, clause, where he can't come in over 245. What is Joshua weighing? He was off over a year. He was basically retired. Was he 280? Was he 290? Was he 275? Easily could be the case. He didn't have a lot of time now to get to 245. How does that affect him? Oh, we forgot about that. It's a little thing, but it's not that little. It's a thing that Paul put there for a reason. Again, Paul hasn't made too many mistakes. He's been pretty damn smart. I'm not saying he's the fighter that Joshua is.
Lamont Roach approaches the fight with concern rather than hype. He doesn't see this as a balanced contest at all. In his view, Joshua's natural power and high-level experience introduce real danger Jake has never faced. Roach warns that Joshua doesn't even need to unleash full combinations. One committed punch could shift everything instantly. The size and experience difference make this a potentially hazardous situation for Jake.
Not gonna lie, but I get it. Coming from a guy who's not a true traditional boxer, and to be able to have a position where he can fight a former unified world champion, former Olympic gold medalist, and to do it on such a stage where Anthony Joshua was a superstar as well. I mean, like, he sold out the O2, twice. Absolutely. I think. So, I think Jake is setting himself up for, a huge spectacle, and which is, kind of smart. If you're going to go big, why not go to the highest, like the highest of the mountain? Why not? And I get it. That's what you call business right there. And I've seen a lot of guys calling them out from like Gabe to, other guys who are boxers. Yeah, like guys who actually beat them. But why would he settle for those guys when he could fight Anthony Joshua? So I think that's, I think that's smart. I think that's super smart.
Smart is one thing. What do you think happens in the ring, though, champ?
I think he gets hurt, for sure. I think he gets obliterated. Something close to like Francis Ngannou. I think something like that happens, and it's going to be bad for him. But
Andrew Tate keeps it straightforward. He gives Jake respect for taking on such a massive challenge. Tate emphasizes that most people on Earth would never step into a ring with someone as dangerous as Anthony Joshua. For him, the outcome matters less than the courage Jake is showing. Tate views Jake's willingness to face a world-class heavyweight as something very few fighters, YouTuber or professional, would dare to attempt.
Things before I let you go, Jake Paul vs Anthony Joshua, your thoughts on this fight, and Mega One?
Yeah, huge respect to Jake. I mean, we all know what should happen on paper, but it's boxing.
UFC bantamweight Sean Ali expresses genuine worry for his friend Jake Paul. Speaking before his own December 19th main event, Ali admits the idea of Jake facing Joshua is terrifying. He warns that being knocked out by a world-level heavyweight can have life-altering consequences. Ali calls Jake's decision absolutely insane, highlighting the very real danger behind the spectacle.
About this fight, but I just got it. I'm glad I thought of it right after I read Sean O'Malley said it. Sean went on to say, there's certain punches, there's certain knockouts, there's certain concussions, there's certain ass whippings, there's certain beatings that are not equal to others. They're the kind of knockouts, of punches, of concussions, of ass whippings, and of beatings that change your life. They change lives. And O'Malley didn't elaborate on what that meant. But I know what he meant. I know what he meant. There is a confidence that a person has. From the guy that walks down the street, the most confident, he walks in the room and he's the man and he gets to live his life feeling that way and people will treat him that way. All the way down to the coward who walks his wife like he's weak, who handles everything sheepishly. The one thing those two guys have in common is that neither of them actually knows where they stand. Neither of them has actually tested that theory. They got all the rest of society to go along with it.
Chael Sonnen gives the most analytical breakdown yet. He lists size, power, reach, height, weight, and experience all heavily in Joshua's favor. Sonnen notes Jake's improvement but stresses that none of Jake's previous opponents compare even remotely to the level Joshua has fought at. Everything, from physicality to mental preparation, leans toward Joshua. To Sonnen, it's simple, the matchup is severely one-sided.
What if Jake makes it 5 rounds, 6 rounds? What if Jake made it to the distance? What if Jake won a round? Now, it's very hard to believe. It's very hard to imagine. I think it's the big struggle with this fight. I cannot, off the top of my head, produce a fight for you in any form of unarmed combat that drew, that was exciting, where the audience did not have a reasonable expectation, an expectation to some degree that, well, if he does this or that, there is a way for this guy to win. And that's usually pretty easy to do because nobody knows anything about fighting. Nobody watching this right now, none of you, my millions of viewers, not one of you has ever boxed. Not one of you knows someone in the family. Well, my dad was a boxer, my uncle was a boxer. No, you don't. Not only are you not a boxer, you don't even know of a boxer. Now, I only share that because when I come out and say nobody knows what they're talking about when they're talking about boxing, like, it's not meant to be an insult. You don't know anything about boxing. It was never taught to you. None of you in recess boxed. None of your junior highs, your high schools, your colleges, your community colleges offered boxing. Your hometown didn't have a boxing gym. Now really think about that. Because as much as you love the sport and as much as you think that you understand it, not only do you not understand it, you can't even have a conversation with other people who do because they don't understand it. So what is a win? I think the time counts. I think the time is a very big deal. You're in that little bitty ring, and I know a guy can run backwards, but running back...
Chris Algieri takes a measured, pattern-based approach. He explains that Joshua fights according to the risk in front of him. Against dangerous opponents, he's cautious. Against smaller or less experienced fighters, he's dominant and efficient. Algieri believes the Jake Paul fight fits perfectly into that second category. Joshua may not rush recklessly, but once he decides to turn up the pressure, he typically ends fights with power and precision. He views Joshua's consistency as the biggest indicator of what's coming.
But listen, Joshua's done this already. He fought a guy that he was supposed to destroy, right? And then he went out there and he destroyed him. And he didn't play with his food. Yep. He didn't say, okay, it was Ngannou I'm talking about, obviously. Of course. Who gave Tyson Fury fits and really had everyone questioning Tyson Fury's ability because he struggled with an MMA fighter in his pro boxing debut. Anthony Joshua didn't do that. He went out there and did what we all expected Tyson Fury to do and completely wiped the floor with the guy. And if Joshua doesn't do that this fight, I agree with you, Jimmy. It's going to hurt his stock. It's going to hurt the way that people perceive him moving forward. And also, I think, honestly, and if he doesn't go out there and just lay into Jake Paul and end it in the first, if not second round, to me, it's gonna look fishy to me. It's gonna look like this was a setup, this was an exhibition, this wasn't a real fight. If this is a real fight, it should be over in 90 seconds because Anthony Joshua is a legit gold medalist, super heavyweight, crazy athlete, awesome power, and Jake Paul just isn't on that level in any way. And he's not, and he's undersized. You know, Jake Paul was fighting a cruiserweight in his last fight. He was under 200 pounds. You know, Joshua is a legit 250 pounds with abs, and the guy punches with the right hand like a cannon.
The one advantage Jake Paul has had in previous fights, and we all know people who have worked with him, and they go, he's got natural power. He can hit pretty well for his size. Not elite, right? Not world champion, but he can hit pretty well for his size. Paulie, that one advantage.
Dave Allen strips away all emotion and looks directly at Jake's history. Jake has never been pressured by a real heavyweight punching with intent. He has usually controlled distance and tempo. Allen warns that Joshua will give him none of that comfort. Even at half intensity, Joshua's aggression could create a completely different environment, one Jake has never experienced in any fight so far.
But he could have beat Tommy. Could he win the area lightweight title? I'm not sure. Don't know the champion. If I had a look, I could tell you, but I'm not sure. He then boxes Nate Diaz. So he's boxed one boxer so far, if we keep him count, and he's beat none. Then he boxes Andre August, who I believe was a pro, and this is now at 14-3, so he's now actually a cruiserweight. Andre August. I'm not sure. Ryan Borland, 17-2. Again, I'm not sure. Well, fair play, he's beat two boxers here. Beat two boxers, what can I say? He then fights Mike Perry, who is an MMA fighter, bare knuckle boxer, he's not a good boxer. He then fights Mike Tyson.
Barry McGuigan delivers one of the most powerful warnings. With decades of experience around elite punchers, he stresses that many fans underestimate how violently a fight can change when a true heavyweight lands clean. McGuigan says the very idea of Jake standing across from Joshua should make seasoned boxing observers uncomfortable. His point isn't to insult Jake, but to highlight the unforgiving physics of heavyweight boxing. He believes the risk goes far beyond simple entertainment.
With the decision of him taking that fight, and it's a professional 8-round fight as well.
Yes, it's a highly dangerous fight for Jake Paul. I don't know what he's doing, unless they have done some sort of caveat or some sort of agreement that he says he's going to go easy on him, or he's not going to go flat out. But you know, I've been tossing this up and down in my mind and trying to figure how, and under God, when he had agreed to fight someone like Tank Davis, who is, you know, several divisions below.
That wraps up today's video. Stick around for more updates. Until next time.